Hi, welcome to the Yvette and Andy, or Andy and Yvette.
Yay.
Yay. Show.
We're going to be talking about healing the physical, emotional, and spiritual body, and why that is so important to our healing journey here on Earth. And you want to start talking?
Yeah, I wanted to bring up something really important. A lot of people do question what they should do first as far as healing spiritually and physically. I mean, I have to admit, even I thought the same way. I'm like, well, I'm always being taught or told or given advice to heal spiritually, and that would heal my physical, right? And you explained it to me and gave me a different perspective, and I think it's important for people to know that, because I never really looked at it that way, and it makes so much sense. Why is it so difficult to do that, to heal, to target your spirit before your physical, and it's such a struggle? And that's a lot of you can relate that people will say, you need to heal spiritually so that you can heal physically.
Yeah.
So,
Well, in my own spiritual journey, and this is what I teach my clients when I work with them, I work on physical first. And the reason why I work on physical first is because it's easier to heal the physical first, and people will be more open and willing to dig deeper once they heal the physical. And fine, you may hear Joel Osteen say, pray and God will heal your physical body as well. And I believe that. I do believe that. But I believe that you need to work on the physical first. Whether it be your diet, whether it be because it has to do with exercise, whatever it is. I feel that you have to get that first down pack, and feeling and healing the physical as opposed to the emotional and spiritual body. Because once you're able to heal that, you're going to want to dig deeper. And sometimes when we do the spiritual first before the physical, we don't go as deep. Okay? We'll go, maybe we have to go all the way down, and we're only going to go halfway.
Right. Because it's intimidating.
Yes, it's
really
intimidating, because sometimes we have so much crap buried down there from childhood, from maybe we had a horrifying experience as teenagers. And we don't want to deal with it. But once we deal with the physical body, we're going to say, okay, I'm able to do this. I can dig deeper. I want to dig deeper because I feel, physically I feel good, but maybe inside, emotional and spiritually, I don't feel that well. I want to dig deeper. And you start digging deeper. And one of the things I notice about people, us humans, including myself, is that we keep forgetting that we are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We're spiritual beings having a human experience.
That is true.
And we also forget that we are from nature, and we kind of go this way instead of staying in tune with nature. And when we stay in tune with nature and live according to nature, we find balance, because we are beings of nature.
And that's a good point, because the physical and the spiritual work together.
Yes.
And you can't do one without the other.
Exactly.
So, yeah, that's important to be able to, you have to work on both.
Yes.
It can't just be one. So I can see how people get intimidated going that deep, or even like trying, and it's just a struggle and a battle. They're not getting any better. But they're not doing anything physically to heal physically. And yeah, you don't, it's harder to work with the spirit than it is to do with the physical, right?
Yes.
I mean, right?
Yes.
It's just like they tell you it's the roadway to, easy is very wide, and the roadway to a hard, you know what I mean? You struggle to get to the right place in the narrow road. It's kind of like the same thing. Spiritually, it's hard. Spiritually, when you're targeting the spirit, the nature of who you are, your very core, that is difficult.
Yes.
It is difficult. So yes, I think that's so brilliant, that to be able to get people to understand that they should start physically healing themselves.
Yes.
And then start to work from that inward.
Yes.
And I love that.
And a lot of people, it's difficult to heal on an emotional and spiritual level because you got to dig in deep. And sometimes you're digging in deep to these places that are so dark. And sometimes we've even forgot about these places. So it's kind of going back to these places that we never wanted to go back to. But in order to have true healing on the physical and emotional body and spiritual body, we have to dig deeper. Okay, physically, then spiritually, and emotional. And you have, like, if you look at the spiritual and emotional body, you have, I work with the chakras system, which is our energy centers in our bodies.
Right.
If you look at the chakra system, that's spiritual. And if you look at the physical body, that's the endocrine system. And they both coincide. Now, you can fix the physical, but now you have an imbalance in the emotional that didn't work with. So now you have to work with both. Once you work with both together, you will have true healing on every level, regardless of what your beliefs are, because we all have our own different spiritual beliefs. And when I speak spiritual, let's not confuse it with religion, okay? Because you have different types of religion.
That's a good point.
That has nothing to do with the spiritual. Like I said before,
right.
We are spiritual beings having a human experience that has nothing to do with your religion.
Right.
And people confuse that. Once you bring up the spiritual body, they start, but no, it has nothing to do with that. So that's another thing that people have to understand.
This is more factual. It is not your belief.
Yeah.
It's a factual.
Yeah. And there's a lot of research studies that show, scientific studies that show that on a deeper level, if you think about epigenetics and how that's showing proof that when you work in the stuff that's inside, on a cellular level, your cells and DNA start to change. And that promotes healing as well.
Right.
Not only spiritual, but physically.
Right. But your recommendation is for them to start at the surface because that's a lot easier to handle, right?
Well, you have to start at the surface. Think about it when you dig a hole. You don't go into,
not magically suddenly in the deep depth of the hole.
Exactly. You
gotta
start chipping on the top, working on the top and working your way down. Same thing with the healing.
Right.
You gotta start chipping at the top, which is the physical body. You work with that physical body, you heal it, like I said, whether with me, my physical body was my autoimmune system that was out of whack.
Right.
So I had to not only change the way I was thinking, which is more emotional and spiritual, but I had to start eating the right foods because there were foods that I was eating that were causing a war in my body. And I was having issues with my gut. And as you know, the gut is 70 to 80% of what your immune system is. There are many illnesses that are connected to having bad gut health. I had bad gut health. I had to heal that. And my body physically started healing. And I started feeling better. But then there was still some things that were off. And that was because my emotional and spiritual body needed healing. I had a lot of crap that was in there. So now I chipped away at the top. Now I started digging deeper and deeper and deeper. And I had to change. I had to basically get a checkup from the neck up, change the way I was thinking, changed what I was putting into my mind. Not only change what I put in my body, but what I was putting in my mind, change what I was thinking about myself on a spiritual level, change who I saw myself as because of the experiences that I had in my life that on a spiritual level kind of hurt me, made me feel bad, and made me sick, made me physically sick. I had to heal that and work on that to have true healing. And now I do have true healing. If you took a blood test now, you would see that I no longer have traces of what,
Yeah, that's remarkable. I think that is just so remarkable that you were able to heal yourself and what you're doing,
But I had to work on all levels. Like we all have to, like the work that you do, you're an assertiveness coach, and you know that people have to dig in deep and work on that because if you don't, you're going to have issues. Even living socially in our world. If you don't deal with the problem that's in there, with the crap, let's call it crap, okay,
Right.
that's in there,
Right.
crap is going to come up for you in life.
Right.
You're not going to be able to deal with certain situations.
Right.
You're not going to be. It's going to show in your relationships, not only your intimate relationships, your business relationships, your friend relationships, on every single level
Yes.
of your life. If you don't
Absolutely.
deal with what's in there,
Right.
you know,
Right. And most times we don't communicate effectively when we have all that inside of us, you know?
Yeah.
And definitely I agree. That's so important. I mean, that's something that I've been practicing, and that led me to wanting to do the assertiveness communication coaching, you know, and I like that because this works together. Your health and wellness and
yeah, absolutely.
You know, I'm
and this
a
is why
coach, and
she's going to be one of the teachers in my lupus healing program, because I work with people on a spiritual level as well. Because you have to deal with that. You have to deal with the spiritual after you work with the physical, because true healing will not occur if I did not work on my emotional and spiritual crap. I probably would still be sick, or my illness would have come back. You will not achieve true healing. And like I said, there are research studies out there, scientific proof, that people who work on the whole body, now we're speaking on a holistic level because it's the whole body, it's not just taking
exactly.
medication, you know, that's when they achieve true healing. They have a happier life. Things start to change. Things start to happen.
Exactly.
But you gotta dig deep, and there's a fear level that we have as human beings that we don't want to dig deep. We don't want to feel the pain, and sometimes you have to feel the pain in order to heal it.
Right.
You know?
Right. Exactly. A lot of times with my clients, I have to, you know, refer them to therapists, you know, or someone, you know, maybe a pastor or someone they can speak to, because it's really deep. And what I do is I touch more of, I don't touch the past. I let them see it for themselves as we go through, you know, all the little quizzes that I send them, and, you know, information and guidance that I give them for them to see for themselves. And then I, you know, can refer them to a therapist if I feel it's needed, because I don't do that. I'm touching the now. I am the moving forward, you know. I'm not a therapist, so I'm not going to dig into your past. I did say that before. I don't dig into your past. That's something you have to do. You have to work on. But I will help guide you to move forward. And sometimes to get there, I have to allow you to see it for yourself. You know, but through these series of little quizzes and homework that I'll give you, you will be able to determine for yourself, you know, where you're at and what you want to do, and if you're ready to move forward. And I'm definitely the go-to girl for the moving forward. And Yvette is definitely the go-to woman for health and wellness. She's wonderful. She's got a lot of great tips and lots of great workshops coming up and great stuff, and I'm so looking forward to that.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I'm looking forward to it. And another thing that I wanted to mention, another part of healing is also accepting yourself, loving yourself, giving yourself not only self-love but also self-care and caring for yourself first. And I did a video about this, I think about a week ago, and a lot of times we sell ourselves short. We feel like, especially if we have families, well, my family comes first. And I'm not saying not to put your family first. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that you also got to remember who you are and honor yourself and do stuff for you as well. Because you can't care for your family and others if you're not caring for you first. And it's not being selfish. It's not being self-centered. It's not being like, oh, I'm thinking about me. No, it has nothing to do with that. And sometimes society has a way of making us feel like, well, if I put myself first, I'm a bad person. I'm not a spiritual person. I'm just not a good person. No, it has nothing to do with that. Right. How can you care for your children if you can't care for yourself?
Exactly. Exactly. And you know, it's funny you mentioned that, because recently someone had told me that very thing. They were actually very content giving to everyone. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
I was brought here to give to people, and they didn't see that it's okay to give to everyone. But what do you have to give for you? What's left over? If your cup is half full and you give that, you give even most of it away, what do you have left for yourself? It's not enough. It's not sustainable. Love for yourself. It's not.
Yeah.
And it's going to manifest somehow in your life, right? Physically.
Yeah.
That's really what happens. And people wind up getting a lot of, disorders and
Yeah. Like, I believe...
the body and spirit, they're comorbid. They work together.
Yes, they do. And that's another thing that a lot of people don't realize. But it's very important to remember that. See, I'm all for modern things, but I also believe we have to look back at traditions, at traditional Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, and all these things that have been done for thousands and thousands of years. They had something. Not that I'm saying that the modern way is a bad way, because it's not. There's some really amazing things that are happening in our modern day, but you also have to go back to the ancient ways, because they knew what they were doing. They saw the body as, not just the physical. They saw the body as a physical, a spiritual, and emotional, and one is connected to another. And it's funny because my mentor, she had a workshop the other day on liver health that I was listening to, because I'm always looking to learn and educate myself more. And she said one thing, and it's funny because I always felt that I needed to heal my liver, because they say that when you suffer from anger, that's connected to the liver. Before I started doing the work that I did, believe it or not, I suffered from serious anger issues that I had to fix. And I had to dig deep on a emotional and spiritual level and work on that. And I found where my anger issues were coming from, And now, of course, I'm not an angry person. I love who I am. I love my life, and I like helping people create a healthier and happier life. I love to see people shine. But what she was saying is that sometimes we need to look at certain body parts that are connected to a physical thing. I recently hurt my wrist, here, the tendons and the ligaments, and I've been feeling like my liver is a little stagnant because of the way I've been feeling lately. Tired, I feel run down, and just other things that are going on that connected to the liver. And she said on this webinar that when you have issues with ligaments and tendons, you got to look to the liver. And I feel that I need...
And the liver has to do with anger?
With anger, and also other types of other things connected to the body. And she mentioned the tendons. And
she didn't think you hit somebody.
No. And it's funny because I've been feeling like I want to do a liver gallbladder cleanse. And what I'm saying is that it's connected.
It's connected.
And I'm having this issue.
Right.
And I'm like,
that makes sense.
And I'm like, that made sense to me. I didn't know, and this is why I always like to learn. I didn't know that was connected.
Yeah, that's interesting. And that does make sense, that certain parts of your body will get affected by certain emotions that you have. Right? So that's why, like when I feel really sad, I have this pressure in my chest area, like right here. When I'm really down and somber, it's right here. And I feel like I have this weight right here, like this and I just feel so heavy, so it's here. But then when I'm really angry, I feel this incredible
cleanse.
When I'm feeling angry, the way where the body part, I don't really get pains on the side really, but I do get a lot of on the lower back. So that I notice. So I do definitely believe that. I believe that certain emotions can affect certain parts of your body.
Lower back means that you feel like you have no support.
Wow, that's crazy.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
So, we're live. We don't want to talk about that now. But you do with that piece of information what you want.
Wow.
But it means that we feel like we have no support in the world. There are affirmations you can do for that, but that's what the lower back means.
Wow.
Okay. And someone who's really big on these things is Louise Hay, who wrote You Can Heal Your Life. She's
wonderful.
Yes.
I really love her work.
Her work played a pivotal role in my healing journey.
Actually, it was you who introduced me to.
Yes,
Thank
I did.
you.
I did. And she's really amazing. And she talks about the mind, the spiritual, emotional, and physical body healing as well. So does my mentor. My mentor's name is Andrea Beeman. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with her.
Andrea.
And if you're not familiar with her, you should become familiar with her because she's amazing. And a lot of the knowledge that I have is because I did some of her trainings. She has some really amazing trainings. And
she has some really great recipes.
And classes. And she poured a lot of her wisdom into me. So I'm not copying her. I'm just kind of pouring the wisdom that she poured into me onto you, because there's only one Andrea Beeman, and she's awesome. She's awesome. If you're not familiar with her, I would say look her up, because she's fabulous. She really is, and an amazing healer. But she talks a lot about that, about traditional Chinese healing and how the mind, body, and the physical body, they're all connected, because they are. And I'm starting to feel really good about this, because I see more and more people that are getting hip to it and understanding it more. Because back in the day, it was like, you're crazy, you're into that hokey pokey, you're a witch and this and that. No, these are traditions. These are things that are true. And if you actually work on them, you're going to see results.
Right. And even with the smaller things, like when like you said, touching the spirit, the physical body, eliminate soda. Something. Just try one small thing, and you will start to feel a difference,
Absolutely.
And then that will kind of give you an incentive, to move on.
To dig deeper.
To dig deeper and do more work on yourself.
You have to dig deeper. It's funny because there are times when I'm having a rough day, or if there's some sort of imbalance in my body. About a few months ago, I was craving silence.
I was going to say ice cream. I've been craving ice cream.
I was craving silence, and I wanted to be alone. I just wanted to be alone. I didn't want to hear anybody. I didn't want to hear any noise. And it's funny because my mentor talks about this when she was on her spiritual journey too. And it's funny because I started going through the same thing too, and I was like, oh my God, she's right. I felt that I wanted to be silent. I didn't want any noise. I didn't want to hear anything, which is hard when you live in a city. And when you live with someone. So
it's a phase, is what you're saying? It's like sort of a phase that you go through when you're in a healing process?
I think it is. And I didn't want to be around people. I didn't want to be around crowds or anything like that. I just wanted to be alone in my own little world, meditating, working on me, and doing what I have to do. I was fine being alone. Not that I'm saying you should be alone all the time, because you shouldn't. You don't want to be antisocial.
Right.
But for that time, I needed that.
Right.
Because what I noticed, and it's very interesting as well, is these are daily practices I do. I wake up in the morning, I pray, I meditate, I do it at night. Sometimes I light a candle, sometimes I just meditate. I pray every morning, I pray every night. I give thanks. I'm grateful for everything that I have, because we should give thanks and show that we are grateful, because when we are grateful, we're opening up to receive more.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. I love meditating too. By the way, I recommend the tapping. Tapping has been...
Yes.
We'll talk about that in another segment, but I love the meditating, definitely. And I noticed a big change in myself also when I was meditating. But, that's interesting you brought that up about that. You go through this phase of and you wanted to be alone. Your spirit now is telling you. You know how sometimes your body tells you, I want sugar, and we know that that's coming from the bad gut.
Yeah.
There, right? Well, this is kind of your body telling you, well, I want silence. I want this. It's actually not your body, your spirit is telling you that, right?
Yeah, because you need to dig deeper. You need to dig deeper and work on what's there. And when there's constant chaos and sounds and everything going on, you can't do that. You can't concentrate. Like, I was at a point where I just felt like if I could just, and it wasn't depression, if I could just lock myself in my room and just work on myself and pray and just dig in deeper and do that, I could have done that the whole day. My body was craving that. And, one of the things I like to do is to be out in nature. I like to go hiking. I like to go mountain climbing. I like to go kayaking. I like to be in nature because I feel a connection. And the reason why it's like that, and if you really dig in deeper, when you're healing, you're going to feel that connection to nature too. Because like I said, we are from nature. So we're going to crave that.
Right.
You know, but we live in this concrete jungle.
That's true. Whether it's a beach or whether it's mountains, right?
Yeah.
It's still nature.
You're in nature.
Yeah.
And you need to make that connection, you know? And I started to feel like I wanted that connection. Back in the day when I was sick, I didn't want to go camping. I didn't want to be in nature. I didn't want to do anything. To hell with that. I didn't want anything to do with that. But now when my body healed and I healed on all levels, I started craving that. I started craving, like, I want to breathe clean air. I want to be where there's flowers and grass. The closest thing we have to that in New York is Central Park.
Right.
You know?
Right.
I started going upstate to go hiking.
Right.
My boyfriend and I, we started to go camping, you know?
Right.
Which he thought was great because he says not too many women like to go camping. I didn't know that. But,
yeah.
you know.
Bugs and stuff. And
that's all part of nature. So I started feeling that connection and I felt better. And then I realized, you know what? I'm a part of this. I'm a part of nature. We're all part of Earth. Right. You know? When we die, that's what we turn into. Right. We turn into
it's
dust.
Amazing.
We become part of
amazing.
Nature.
It's
again.
all energy. It's all energy, and we're all observing it. You know, quantum physics explains that. You know, how we're observing this, and this is all an observation. I'm an observer. You're an observer. We're observing each other, but we're still part of each other. We're still all energy.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
and
we're all energy. And if you think about, like, when somebody crosses over, and I'm talking about when people die, I don't like to say die, I like to say cross over, because we are crossing over.
Right.
What's leaving is the suit, you know, our our meat suit leaves, but our energy is still here. You know, and sometimes people say, oh, well, so-and-so passed away, but I still feel his energy. They're not crazy. That energy is still here because we are all energy.
Right, it's like my dad. I know your dad, I know, right? It was just his birthday.
Yeah.
Oh, happy birthday. But my dad, too, I feel, and my mom, I feel they're alive in us.
Absolutely.
They have to be. The energy is here.
The energy is
transferring. There. It's just transferred energy.
That's the energy is there, and you share the same DNA.
Right.
So I thought, when I was much younger, I thought the day my father dies, I'm going to just drop dead. I'm going to crawl into a hole and die because my father raised me. I mean, I grew up with both of my parents, but my parents got divorced. Digging deeper and dealing with the spiritual, okay? My parents got divorced when I was a young girl, and a lot of things happened, you know. But my father was like my best friend. Not that my mom isn't. I love my mom.
Right.
But I grew up with my dad. So I always thought, the day that my dad dies, that's it, I'm done. I'm going to have to be put in a mental institution. But once I worked on myself, I healed myself on an emotional, physical, and spiritual level. The day my dad passed away, believe it or not, the only thing I was worried is that I was like, Dad, please cross over, don't stay here with me. Worrying about me. Cross over, you can come back and visit me. That was the only thing I was concerned about. And he comes and goes. I feel his energy. I was able to say, you know what? He crossed over. He's at peace. And I know he still lives within me because we shared the same DNA.
Right.
You know? So he's alive. He's here with me today because I live.
Right.
You know? So he's living through
beautiful.
Me. You know?
Yes.
The same way
Yes.
your parents are living through you.
Right.
You know? So they never really leave us, but we as humans, we're like, oh my God, we lost it. And it's fine, mourn them, but remember that they live through you because you share the same DNA.
Exactly.
And their energy, they're still here with you.
Right.
They're always going to be a part of who you are and who you are. You know, and we pass that on to our children. So when he passed away, I was able to look at it in that way. And yes, I cried, I was hurt, you know, but I was able to deal with it better. And I knew deep in my heart and in my solar plexus that my dad was okay. That he crossed over. And I know that one day I'm going to see him. And we're going to hang out again. And we're going to have the jokes. And we're going to do and laugh and do all the things we did before. And the same thing when my mom crosses over. I know that I will see her again and spend time with her in the same way.
It's not over.
It's not over because she's living through me as well. and her energy will always be here because we are all energy.
Exactly.
The earth is made from the energy.
Yes. Yes, and I love that. And that's why you can hear some people say, we're all brothers and sisters for that reason. We're all brothers and sisters. Okay, maybe in different ways, but we,
Yes.
you know what I mean? But we are. We're all connected. We're all energy, and
Yep.
yeah, wonderful. Great. I love this. So we came to you today to introduce our new talk show, and we're going to be announcing the next date shortly, right?
Yes.
And I also recommend this. I might put this down if I can. I have to figure that out. There's a song by Peter Cetera called One Clear Voice, and it's beautiful.
Nice.
I highly recommend it. It's very soft and very, it talks about that, about that one clear voice. As a matter of fact, he says, one clear voice calling out for me to listen. One clear voice whispers words of wisdom. I close my eyes and I find what I close my eyes and I found what I've been missing.
Nice.
And that's just him wanting to, like you said, silence. One clear voice. Shutting everything out, just being by himself and getting in tune with himself. I love the song. I'm going to put it down so you guys can listen to it. And we'll be seeing you really soon. Great to see everybody. I hope you enjoyed this talk, and we'll be live again soon.
We'll be live again either here or on YouTube. We're trying to figure it out.
Right.
Technical stuff. I'm a healer, not a tech-savvy person, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'm definitely not.
See you soon. Bye.
God bless.